Hello there. Let me ask you something. Have you ever lain awake at 3 in the morning, your mind just racing? Worrying about what the neighbor thinks of your overgrown rose bushes, or maybe replaying a silly argument you had last week? That familiar, tight knot in your stomach over things that, deep down, you know shouldn't matter? Most of us just brush it off. We say it's just a part of getting older. But as a doctor who has spent over 3 decades sitting with and listening to seniors, I have to tell you that constant low-grade stress is not harmless. It's a quiet poison. Every time you worry, your body releases a hormone called cortisol. And for people over 60, cortisol can raise your blood pressure, it can weaken your immune system, and even start to cloud your memory. Those small worries are doing real, physical damage, day after day. But here is the powerful truth I've learned, not from a textbook, but from my wisest patients. Your 70s are not a time for more worrying. They are a time for letting go. It's a superpower that comes with age, but only if you know how to unlock it. I'm thinking of my patient, John. A wonderful man, a retired engineer. When he first came to see me, his blood pressure was dangerously high. He wasn't sleeping. And the reason? He was obsessed with maintaining the perfect retirement life. The one he thought everyone expected of him. The perfect lawn, the perfect schedule, winning every single debate at the coffee shop. He was slowly breaking under the weight of things that simply didn't matter anymore. John's story has a happy ending, and that's precisely why I'm making this video. Today, we are going to walk through the 7 specific things you have earned the right to stop caring about. We will look at why they drain your precious energy and, most importantly, how to finally release them. For good. My name is Dr. Miller, and the advice I'm sharing is from thousands of conversations with folks just like you over the last 35 years. And please, make sure you stay with me until the end. The 7th and final point is a simple mindset shift that John told me was the key that finally set him free. It's a piece of wisdom that could genuinely change the quality of your remaining years. Before we dive in, I truly want to know how many of you have faced this. If what I just shared feels familiar, please comment a simple yes below. It shows me you understand, and it shows others they are not alone. Okay, let's get started. Alright, let's begin. We're going to walk through these 7 burdens together, one by one. Thing number 1. The opinions of others. For our entire lives, we are trained to care. We spend decades trying to be the perfect parent, the perfect employee, the perfect neighbor. The habit of worrying, asking ourselves, what will they think? Becomes so deeply ingrained it feels like a part of us. But what is actually happening inside your body when you do this? Deep inside your brain, there's a little alarm system. It's called the amygdala. When you worry about judgment, that alarm goes off. It floods your body with adrenaline, just as if you were facing a real, physical threat. And doing this day after day, year after year, simply exhausts your system. But here is the beautiful secret of your 70s. Your energy is now a precious currency. It is not unlimited. As we get older, our social circles naturally get smaller, but they also become far more meaningful. Spending your precious energy on the opinions of casual acquaintances, or strangers, or that nosy neighbor down the street. It's like throwing $5 bills into the wind. That feeling of anxiety right before a family gathering? Or that hesitation you feel before trying a new hobby, because you're afraid you might look foolish? That is the price you are paying. That is your precious currency being spent. I'm thinking of a patient of mine, Brenda. A wonderful woman, 72 years old, who had to have hip surgery. She needed to use a walker for a few months to recover safely. But she refused. She would risk walking without it, unsteady on her feet, because she was terrified that some of her old colleagues from work might see her and think she looked frail. That was the word she used. Frail. Her fear of their judgment was putting her at a huge risk of falling and ending up right back in the hospital. We had a long talk, and we reframed the issue. It wasn't about pride versus weakness. It was about choosing dignity and safety over the imagined opinions of others. So here is the simple tool I gave her. The next time you catch yourself worrying, I want you to use what I call the circle of trust test. Ask yourself this one simple question. Is this person in my inner circle of people whose love and respect I truly value? Your spouse, your children, your closest friends. If the answer is no, then their opinion is just noise. It has no real power. You can consciously and peacefully let it go. It's time we stop giving people who don't truly matter a vote in how we live our lives. Thing number 2. Past regrets and what-ifs. Our minds are like giant libraries, filled with the stories of our lives. But so often, especially when we have more quiet time, it's easy to get stuck in one particular section. The regret section. Rereading. The same painful chapters over and over. The mistake we made in our 30s. The opportunity we didn't take. The path we chose not to walk down. We torture ourselves with what-ifs. When you get stuck on the past like this, a part of your brain called the default mode network gets caught in a negative loop. You are, quite literally, forcing your brain to relive stress, sadness, and pain. And science has shown us that this exact mental habit is strongly linked to depression in older adults. Now, why does this become such a challenge as we age? Because with more time for reflection, the past can feel very, very loud. But your 70s also offer a unique and powerful perspective. You can finally see the whole map of your life, and you can realize that even the wrong turns, even the detours, were necessary to lead you to where you are standing today. That heavy feeling in your chest when you think about a past financial mistake? Or the deep sadness that still lingers when you ponder a fractured relationship from long ago? That is your present moment being stolen by a past that you cannot change. I had a patient, David, who was haunted for 50 years. 50 years. He was haunted by the fact that he didn't buy a piece of property that, decades later, became incredibly valuable. This one, what if, cast a shadow over all his actual accomplishments. He was a good father, a successful small business owner. But all he could see was the ghost of that missed opportunity. His breakthrough came from a very simple exercise. He started a gratitude jar. Every evening, he had to write down one thing he was genuinely thankful for, something real in his life right now, and put it in the jar. Slowly, painfully at first, he forced himself to focus on what he did have, not what he'd lost. Here is what I want you to practice. It's called the chapter close. When a regret surfaces, acknowledge it. Don't fight it. Say to yourself, yes, that happened. And I learned from it. Thank it for the lesson it taught you. And then, powerfully, visualize yourself closing the cover on that book. That chapter is over. The story has moved on. You can even write the regret down on a piece of paper and physically throw it away. It sounds simple, I know, but it is a powerful signal to your brain. Your past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. It is time to move out. If this idea of letting go of the past resonates with you, just type freedom in the comments. Let's declare our intention together. Thing number 3, keeping a perfect house. For many of us, and especially for the women of our generation, a spotless house wasn't just a clean house. It was a sign of a good life. A sign of being a good wife, a good mother. It was a reflection of our worth. But now, in our 70s and beyond, the pressure to keep everything pristine, the floors shining, not a speck of dust in sight, can become a source of physical and mental exhaustion. The constant bending, scrubbing, and lifting can be a direct trigger for inflammation in our aging joints, leading to painful arthritis flare-ups. And the mental clutter of a never-ending to-do list? That just adds more of that stress hormone, cortisol, to your system. Here's the fundamental shift we need to make. Your body has new limits. It's earned them over a long and productive life. Pushing your body past those limits for the sake of a dust-free shelf is simply a poor trade-off for your health and your happiness. Your home should be your sanctuary, your place of comfort, not a source of constant labor and judgment. That sharp pain in your lower back after a long day of gardening and cleaning? That quiet feeling of failure when you see some dust on the mantelpiece? That is your body and your mind, together, telling you that it's time to redefine what perfect means. I'm reminded of my patient Susan, 76 years old. She was skipping her afternoon walks, the very walks that were crucial for her heart health, because she felt she had to vacuum every single day. The carpet had to be perfect. She was literally sacrificing her heart's health for the health of her floor. We had a talk and reframed her perspective entirely. Her home's job, we decided, was to serve her well-being, not the other way around. So, here is your new mission. Embrace the philosophy of good enough. Choose 1 or 2 zones of peace in your home. Maybe it's your favorite armchair and the little table next to it. Keep those areas tidy, because they bring you joy. And let the rest of the house be simply lived in. A house with a little dust is a sign of a life being enjoyed. A life with stories. And if you can, consider hiring a little help for just a few hours a month. It's not an expense. It's an investment in your well-being. Please, choose memories over maintenance. Your grandkids will never remember how clean your floors were. They will remember you sitting on that floor to play a game with them. Thing number 4, accumulating more stuff. We have lived through times of scarcity and times of plenty. For many of us, the instinct to acquire, to collect, to hold on to things. It's strong. It's a survival instinct, in a way. The problem is, after 70 years, our houses are full. And more stuff no longer means more security. It often just means more stress. Scientists have a term for it: visual clutter. When your eyes see clutter, it overloads the thinking part of your brain, the cortex, making it harder to focus and harder to relax. It creates a low-level, continuous state of anxiety that you may not even be aware of. This stage of life, your 70s, is about becoming lighter, not heavier, in every sense of the word. Letting go of possessions isn't about loss. It is about liberation. It is about freeing yourself from the weight of things you no longer need, use, or even love. And think about this. It is also a profound and loving gift to your children. A gift of not burdening them with the monumental task of sorting through 50 or 60 years of your possessions one day. That feeling of being overwhelmed when you open a closet that's packed full? The low-grade anxiety of simply not knowing where to put things anymore? That is your stuff stealing your peace of mind. I once worked with a lovely couple, the Hendersons. They had a beautiful dining room table, but they hadn't eaten at it in years. Why? It was completely covered in a collection of porcelain dolls that they had accumulated over time. Every single meal, every single day, was eaten on trays in front of the television. When they finally made the decision to pack away most of the collection, they rediscovered something wonderful. The simple joy of sitting down together, across from each other, for a proper meal. They told me they started talking more than they had in years. They chose connection over collection. So, if your home feels too full, I want you to start the one-a-day challenge. It's gentle, and it's not overwhelming. Every single day, find just one item. It could be a book you'll never read again, a piece of clothing you haven't worn in a decade, a kitchen gadget you never use. Take a moment. Thank it for its service to you, and then let it go. Donate it, gift it to someone who might need it, or discard it. Your job now is to curate your life. Keep only what serves a purpose, or what truly brings you joy. Thing number 5. The need to win every argument. Whether it is a heated discussion about politics with a relative at Thanksgiving, or a minor squabble over the right way to load the dishwasher. So many of us feel that burning, gut level need to be right. To have the last word. To win. It feels important in the moment, doesn't it? But medically speaking, it's one of the most taxing things you can do to your body. Arguing literally puts your body into a fight or flight state. Your heart rate speeds up, your blood vessels constrict, and your blood pressure spikes. For an aging cardiovascular system, these repeated spikes and surges of stress hormones can be incredibly dangerous over time. The true wisdom of our later years isn't about knowing all the answers. It's about knowing which battles are worth fighting. And as you get older, you begin to realize a profound truth. Your inner peace is far more valuable than the temporary, fleeting satisfaction of winning a minor debate. That rush of anger and hot frustration you feel during a disagreement? The way it can sour your mood and ruin your entire afternoon? That is the very high price you pay for the need to be right. It's often a terrible bargain. I got a call one evening from a patient of mine. He was fuming, and his voice was shaky. He just had a terrible political argument with his adult son and had hung up on him. He was calling me to vent, to tell me how right he was. I listened patiently, and then I asked him a simple question. I said, "In 5 years, which will you remember more clearly? The specific point you won in this argument, or the silence where your weekly phone calls with your son used to be?" There was a long pause on the other end of the line. It was a wake-up call for him. So here is a powerful tool you can use. Learn the magic of the simple phrase, "You may be right." Saying this is not a concession. It is not surrender. It is a declaration of peace. It gracefully ends the conflict without you having to betray your own beliefs. It communicates that you value the relationship more than the argument. After 70, you often have to choose. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? You can't always be both. Please choose happy. I'm curious, how many of you have felt that exact struggle? If this one hit home, comment wow below. It's amazing how simple, and yet how hard, this one can be. Thing number 6. Minor daily annoyances. The long, slow line at the grocery store when you're in a hurry. The driver who cuts you off in traffic. The television remote that seems to have vanished into thin air, again. It is so incredibly easy to let these small, insignificant frustrations hijack our emotions and ruin our entire day. The problem is, your brain's stress response system doesn't really distinguish between a big threat and a small one. Each little annoyance triggers a small release of stress hormones. Getting a dozen of these in a single day is like getting a dozen tiny paper cuts on your soul. Individually, they are small. But by the end of the day, they add up to real pain and genuine exhaustion. Here's the perspective that age gives us. You have a finite number of heartbeats left. A finite number of breaths. A finite number of beautiful sunsets yet to see. Do you really want to spend any of them being angry about a slow toaster? The great wisdom of this age is perspective. The ability to finally see how truly insignificant these things are in the grand scheme of your one precious life. That feeling of your blood boiling when you're stuck in traffic? The grumbling and muttering that starts when your internet connection is slow? That is you, actively giving away your precious, non-renewable energy to things that do not deserve 1 second of it. My mentor, a wonderful doctor who worked well into his 80s, had a favorite saying. Whenever something trivial went wrong, he would just smile, shrug, and say, "Not a big problem." His car battery died in the hospital parking lot? Not a big problem. He spilled coffee all over his shirt right before seeing a patient? Not a big problem. He saved his energy, his focus, his emotional reserves. For the things that truly mattered, his patients and his family. He instinctively knew not to sweat the small stuff. I want you to try this simple mental exercise. It's called the 5-year test. When a small annoyance happens, the store is out of your favorite brand of bread, for example. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Then ask, will it matter in 5 months? Or 5 days? Or even 5 hours? The answer, almost always, is a resounding no. This simple question acts like a reverse magnifying glass. It instantly shrinks the problem down to its actual, tiny size. Don't let a 5-minute problem ruin a 24-hour day. Thing number 7. The fear of missing out. This one is a bit newer, but it affects us all. We see pictures on Facebook of our friends traveling to exotic places. We hear about a party we weren't invited to, or a family event happening on the other side of the country. And we feel it, that little pang in our gut. A feeling of being left behind. A quiet, nagging sense that we should be doing more, seeing more, being more. They call it FOMO, or the fear of missing out. For seniors, this can be particularly damaging. Psychologists tell us that this kind of social comparison is a powerful driver of dissatisfaction. When we feel like we're missing out, it can trigger deep feelings of loneliness and inadequacy, which are major risk factors for depression. But this season of your life is the perfect time to make a beautiful trade. It's time to trade FOMO for something I call JOMO. The joy of missing out. This is the quiet joy of a peaceful evening at home with a good book and a cup of tea. The joy of not having to navigate a crowded airport during the holidays. The joy of a simple, predictable routine that brings you comfort and peace, not anxiety. That feeling of restlessness you get on a Saturday night, or that little sting of envy when you see someone else's vacation photos. That is the ghost of your younger self, whispering in your ear that you are not busy enough, that your life is not exciting enough. And this brings me right back to my patient, John, from the beginning of our talk. This was his final, most important breakthrough. He finally gave himself permission to stop. He stopped trying to fill his calendar just to prove to everyone that he was having an active retirement. He started saying no. He started declining invitations to events that he knew, deep down, would just exhaust him. He discovered the simple, profound joy of just sitting on his front porch, watching the birds at the feeder. And he told me something I will never forget. He said, "Doc, I'm not missing out on anything anymore. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm finally present for my own life." So here is your final, simple action. I want you to actively schedule JOMO time. That's right. Put it on your calendar. Quiet reading hour. Peaceful porch sitting. Listening to music. Treat it with the same importance as a doctor's appointment. Because it is. It's an appointment with yourself. Your life is not a performance for others to watch. It's time to stop collecting experiences and finally start feeling them. So, let's come back to where we started. Remember my patient, John? The man with the sky-high blood pressure and the long, sleepless nights, haunted by the weight of a perfect retirement? Today, John is thriving. He truly is. His blood pressure is back to a healthy, normal level. He sleeps soundly through the night. And he spends his afternoons in the garage, not worrying about the dandelions on his lawn, but patiently teaching his grandson how to build model airplanes. He finally gave himself permission to let go of all the noise, so he could hear the quiet music of his own life again. The lesson in John's story, and in everything we've talked about today, is so beautifully simple. Getting older isn't about what you lose. It's about what you gain. You gain the profound wisdom to finally let go of the heavy baggage that was never really yours to carry in the first place. It is about consciously choosing peace over pressure and choosing joy over judgment. As we wrap up our time together, we've explored these critical mindset shifts that can truly transform our golden years. But I've always believed that knowledge is only powerful when we put it into action. So now, I have one important question for you. What is the one commitment you are making to yourself after watching this video today? It could be something small. It could be, I will not worry about a past regret, or I will let my house be good enough. Please, share your personal commitment in the comments below. Writing it down is the first powerful step to making it real, and it lets us all inspire each other to take that first step. And if you found real value and inspiration in our time together, show your support by taking a moment to give this video a like. It's a simple gesture that tells me this message is helpful and needed. To ensure you continue on this journey with us and never miss another video full of wisdom for this stage of life, hit that subscribe button. It's more than just subscribing. It's joining a community of friends, all dedicated to living our best lives together. Finally, think of one person, a friend, a sibling, a spouse, who needs to hear this message today. Please, share it with them. You might be giving them the permission they've been waiting for. Thank you for spending this time with me. Be well, and be kind to yourself.